Welcome to the College Admissions Collaborative highlighting Engineering and Technology College Fair. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have a fantastic school here with us today. My name is Jessica and I'll be your facilitator. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items for you. Number one, your camera and microphones are off, so the presenters cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen at any time to ask any questions of presenters. This is just one of many sessions happening this evening, so make sure you go back and check the website. The presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/CACHET. I'd like to now turn it over to our presenter, Kettering University.
Thank you, Jessica. It's great to be here tonight. I just want to remind the audience that they can use the Q&A feature at any point, and I'll leave some time at the end of the presentation this evening and answer those questions as well as I can. I am going to share my screen now, and we'll get started. Bear with me for just a second here while I get this started. So this is Kettering University. So we are primarily an engineering school. I wanted to start with this graphic because this kind of resonates with a lot of our students right away. So this is a student fabricated F1 SAE vehicle that we compete with. So this is actually designed and built right here on campus by our students and a few faculty mentors. You can see that that it looks a little rough around the edges, but that's because we do the fabricating ourselves. This is not something that gets farmed out to some company and comes back all glistening and fresh. No, we do all this work right here in-house. And you know, the students here are particular about that approach. So before I get too far into just exactly what we offer here and what Kettering does is unique, let me first introduce myself. My name is Scott Travis. I'm the Director of Specialty Admissions here at the university. I work with graduate students, I work with international students, and I work with a lot of students from particular interest groups, like that SAE group that I just showed you a picture of, but also robotics and the DECA group, which is a business affiliated group. Uh-oh. So we're located in Michigan, we're located in Flint, Michigan. This is about an hour north of Detroit, an hour and 15 minutes north of Detroit. It's a pretty vibrant downtown community. We're about a mile away from that community. Here's a few pictures of what our students get involved in. This is on the lower left-hand corner there. We've got a great farmer's market. Our international students just visited that today. And there's a number of events like the Back to the Brick events, which is a car show downtown that we've been affiliated with for decades. So in fact, Kettering University is a school that was actually founded along with the automotive industry over 100 years ago. In Detroit and Flint, Michigan. So the legacy of Kettering is really in automotive, and we've been doing engineering ever since. This is a couple pictures of our campus. It's a relatively small campus, strategically so. So it's really important for us to provide opportunities to students to really roll up their sleeves and not just be spectators, but actually participants in their education. In fact, that lower left corner, that's actually even our own proving grounds. So students that are interested in automotive engineering and mobility systems, they can test those vehicles right on campus. And in fact, it's such a great facility that we have some of our corporate partners that come and do testing of their products on that facility. So it's a great opportunity for students to be able to not only work together on projects, but work together with faculty and even professionals in these industries. So it's a really applied and practical experience. We are almost exclusively engineering, and we are pretty unapologetic about that. It's very applied. Even our management program really dovetails to engineering and tech environments. So the management students, they're really preparing to work on the business side of engineering firms and global enterprise. The other thing that we do here is a co-op, and it's the most extensive co-op in the United States, in fact. It starts freshman year, and our students are going to graduate with over 2 years of paid work experience in their industries. So that's extensive. That's not an internship. That's not a summer gig. It's a real investment that's made both by the students and the schools and the 400 or so companies that we work with. And we do this by tweaking our calendar. Our calendar is a little different from other universities. We work on quarters, and every other quarter, our students are going to be involved in their co-op experience. So they go to school, they're in the labs, they're in the facilities with our faculty members for about 3 months. And then the next 3 months, they get coached through that professional experience in the field. And they just flip-flop back and forth. This really makes a lot of sense to our students. It is, it's just ingrained in what they want to do. They know that testing and application is something that's really valuable to them. So like I said, here's some statistics about what we do on campus. It's a small school. We like that close integration with our faculty members. We don't have any lecture halls on campus that we do a lot of teaching in. So that's the largest class, 55 students. So we're not talking about these 400-seat auditoriums. That's just not what our students want. That's not what scientists and engineers want. They can't envision themselves learning in that type of environment. They want to be in the labs and the workshops. And in fact, over 50% of the academic space here on campus is devoted to labs and workshops. It's a very, very hands-on approach. The picture here is actually our Lego lab. It's in our industrial engineering facility. And actually, the students that are in this lab are actually learning lean engineering principles. So they have to design a lock and key set made out of Legos, and they have to put together an assembly line, in which case they're actually doing statistical studies on successful fabrication and durability. We actually do durability tests on these locks. That's pretty fun. And lean engineering, so actual cost analysis. The co-op is that other half. So you take that experience, like what you learned in that Lego lab, and then you actually get to see how those principles get applied in the professional setting. We do this every 3 months. It's paid. In fact, it's paid really well. Our students are making upwards of $70,000 in their co-op by the time they're graduating. And the value of the co-op is really cumulative. So freshman year, the first time you do it, it's pretty lightweight. It is most similar to an internship. And what I mean by that is there's not a tremendous amount of responsibility that our students have at that point. They're just getting an introduction. They're meeting teams in industries, but they're going to do this a second time in their freshman year, and then twice more in sophomore year, twice more in junior year. And by the time they're juniors and seniors, they are working side by side with engineers in the field, working on real world problems and earning a pretty decent paycheck. These companies that we work with, they're pretty smart about what they're doing. They are, in fact, really kind of tapping into the talent pipeline at Kettering 5 years in advance. So what they're doing is they are trying to train our students in the most modern engineering techniques, in business principles, so they can hire them as full-time employees. And these students who become employees, they're going to be the leaders of those companies moving forward. So these companies, they you know, instead of trying to sift through resumes and find qualified employees, they're going to train our students right from the start. And we work with over 400 different companies doing all sorts of different things in all sorts of different disciplines. Here's just a smattering of some of the companies that we work with. A lot of these are really going to jump out at you. There's some really cool opportunities, and the projects that our students get involved in, they are bleeding edge projects. So this is brand new technologies just coming out on the market. In many cases, our students actually even have to sign disclosure agreements so that they're not going public with the technologies and the processes that they're getting exposed to while co-op employees. So it's brand new stuff, and the ability to see that work environment, and then to ask questions in the work environment that we can translate right into the academic environment when they return to campus for their next set of classes. It just makes sense. And every musician and every athlete knows the value of the same feedback loop, right? So it doesn't make sense to practice without ever being in that game setting. You know, the game day, the match, the concert, the recital. That's when you figure out what's working and what's not working. And that's exactly what we do in the co-op program. So a couple more photos of what campus looks like. All of our freshmen live in Thompson Hall. That's front and center there on the slide. And students are welcome to stay there as long as they can, as long as they want. They can actually move across the street into apartment complexes for our graduate students and upperclassmen. Some of our students choose to live downtown as well. There's lots of private restaurants and privately owned little boutique shops and new business in that farmers market, which is that's one of my favorite places in Flint. There's lots to do on campus. Like I said, the Kettering students are not great spectators. They don't want to just sit and watch either in the classroom or in the extracurriculars. They want to get on the field themselves. They want to participate. They want hands-on, and that's really what we feature. It's a small enough community. It's a very tight-knit community, and people, even students that come in being very shy, they find themselves surrounded by a very, very supportive community. And it's a unique community. It is, I mean, these are your peeps. If you're looking for engineering, you know, the whole campus is built on that principle. So as far as admission requirements, everything, of course, is online. We have our own kind of homegrown application on our website. We also subscribe to Common App. And what we're looking for is really as much math as you can get in high school. We require at least up through the second year of algebra with trigonometry, but a lot of our students are coming in with pre-calculus or calculus, and that's very common across engineering schools. Having a solid foundation in math will help you your freshman year in engineering. It'll help you in your physics classes. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all the math that you already know, but we're going to show you how to apply it, because I bet you haven't figured that out yet. So you've got a lot of plug and chug. You've learned all the formulas, but what we're going to do is show you how and when to actually use that knowledge. We're looking for laboratory sciences as well, preferably chemistry and/or physics. We are ACT and SAT optional. If you choose to submit scores, they absolutely cannot work against you. However, really good scores can earn you additional scholarship. So that's certainly something to consider. We also will read letters of recommendation. They're not required as part of the application, but certainly anything that you submit, we'll take a look at. And then we'll assess merit scholarships when we assess entry to the university. So our early action deadline is November 15th. We kind of move into a rolling admissions process after that. And we actually have rolling acceptance packages going out starting about the middle of October. So the earlier you apply to the school, the earlier you'll find out about being admitted, and you'll learn about your merit scholarship. And those merit scholarships can be very, very generous. In fact, we average over $15,000 per year in merit scholarship. We also offer our own scholarships for specific affinity groups. I'll talk about those a little bit more in a second. We have a number of corporate partners, all those co-ops that we partner with. They, like I said earlier, they're invested in the Kettering education, and they offer scholarships to students as well. And then those co-op funds. So, you know, you can figure right out of the gate, typically making $10 to $15 per hour. That's pretty conservative range, but you know, it's going to be better than making pizza and shuffling papers, right? So, like I said, this is not an internship. This is a serious investment. Of course, we look at FAFSAs as well, and so a lot of students will qualify for federal or state aids, whether that's loans or grants or both. And then we have work study available on campus as well. So some of those additional scholarships that I mentioned, this is just a few of the affinity groups that we get involved in. First, robotics is really, really big on campus. About 30% of our students are actually involved in robotics while in high school. So that could be FIRST, that could be VEX, that could be OCRA, that could be World Robotics Organization, the National Robotics Competition, a number of different venues and competitions. We have applications for that. We also work with DECA and BPA and FBLA for students that are interested in management. And for our transfer students, we have Phi Theta Kappa scholarships. And we have coding and programming scholarships. We have mobility and competition vehicle scholarships for students that have been involved in things like Square One or other IVD programs. We have a number of different opportunities really for students that, you know, they've had an opportunity to demonstrate some leadership and some project-oriented work outside of the classroom, as well as what they're doing in school. In fact, we also offer the Kettering Recognizes Excellence Scholarship. And what that is it really celebrates what students are doing outside of the classroom, whether they're involved in community service, perhaps they are an Eagle Scout or Gold Star award winner. We really want to see what kind of personal initiative students are demonstrating. And we're going to reward that. So all of those scholarships, all of that federal and state aid, that all works to kind of pay down college tuition. So these are some rough numbers that we'll look at. It starts right around those numbers, and then we start taking off those merit scholarships, like $14,000 or $15,000 off the top. That robotics scholarship, the Kettering Recognizes Excellence scholarship, the mobility and DECA scholarships are each worth about $5,000 per year. So right away, based on your applications, we're going to start taking chunks off of this. The other thing that we're going to promise you is whatever tuition is, when you come in as a freshman, not only does that's locked in for the whole time that you're here, up to 5 full years. So there's not going to be any incremental changes to tuition, no surprises. We also don't charge any fees to our students. We have tuition, room, and board. That's it. That's everything. So no gym fees, no printing fees, no computer lab fees, no lab fees, no parking fees. We actually even have free parking available to all of our students on campus, including our freshmen. But of course, our legacy is in automotive engineering. So of course, we're going to provide that too. When you look at everything all wrapped together, Kettering is ranked #1 nationally in a survey that was actually provided by the Wall Street Journal. So #1 in career preparation. But that doesn't necessarily surprise any of us here, because We've got a super reputable set of degrees. We have 2 to 2.5 years of paid work experience. And then one thing that I didn't mention earlier, all the professional networking that our students are getting while in college. So while they're doing this co-op, they're meeting people in all these different industries. And I think that's absolutely critical. Sometimes it's not what you know. We've all heard this. It's who you know. So that co-op program is an introduction to your first job as well. And I'd say the most important piece of the co-op program is the fact that you get to try it out. You get to see whether you're going to like it or not. So many students, both in high school and in college, they're just making guesses at what they want to do professionally, at what they want to major in. We're not going to guess. We're going to try it out. We are going to put you in the industry, and we're going to learn what you like and what you don't like, what you're good at, what you need more work on. And by the time you're graduating from Kettering University, you won't be looking for a job. Most likely, you'll have an offer in your back pocket already, and you'll have already done that work, so you already know that you like it. It's unique, but it works. And that's what we're doing here at Kettering. So I'm going to stop sharing there and jump back into our Zoom meeting and see if there's any questions that are going to come in.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming today. In a few moments, that will be an opportunity for you to share some of your feedback. There'll be a screen that comes up when you turn this off. So it'll be a time for you to do that. So there is another session happening right after this one, so definitely sign up for that. This session has been recorded as well as all the rest of the sessions for this evening, and it'll be shared at strivescan.com/CACHET. All right, well, y'all have a good night. Bye.